Testing 1, 2.
1, 2, test.
Okay, we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rip some nuts!
Yeah, baby. We're back.
Welcome to the Rippin Nuts podcast, episode 3.
Papa Smurf, Ed Bonacore.
And I am the only guest we have this week.
Yeah, our guest felt a little ill, so feel better soon, Jess.
So, that just leaves you and me.
Yeah, that's okay. We're good with that.
There's only room enough in this podcast for one of us.
Yeah. And we're going to have a stare down now, but you can't see it.
Yeah, there's no video yet. Maybe in the future.
Maybe, yeah. So, I wanted to, I was thinking about this, and I know that that you might have experience in this. So, I was thinking about dating.
Yes, as you do, as a married man.
I mean, not me dating. I was thinking about dating as a whole. Like, when I was younger, we would go out and we would meet.
Get a malt.
I'd get a malted milk, and then I would
For a nickel.
Yeah. I would bite it. I'd be like, no.
Go to the soda bar.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, soda jerk, get me a soda. No, so you'd go out and you'd meet people. Now today, especially today, since COVID, and kind of not being able to kind of go out in public and kind of mingle with lots of people, it's hard to find a date. But I know there's a lot of dating apps, right?
That's for sure.
Okay. So tell me, like, all I know is this. Like, this is my knowledge of a dating app. Swipe left, swipe right. I don't even know which is good or bad. Now, are they all similar in that fashion? Without naming names, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But like, are they similar that way?
I mean, like, Tinder is kind of the one that everybody thinks of, and that's where like the swiping left and right comes from. And I think a lot of other apps have just kind of copied that kind of interface.
Yeah, like that model. I guess it's fairly simple, right? You see someone, if you like them, you swipe one way. If you don't, you swipe another way, right? Correct?
Yeah.
And then
if you swipe right, it's a like, and if you swipe left, it's a dislike. So that's some people even use that like to say they don't like something, like oh, I swiped left on that cake or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like become like common vernacular now.
Like I saw it in a cigarette commercial. That like stop smoking. It said like swipe left on cigarettes. And stuff like that to try to get teens to stop smoking because they're obviously targeting that kind of demographic. So they're one and the same, smoking and dating apps. Yeah.
By the way, I not to get off the subject, but you said that you found a pack of cigarettes the other day at work, and that's a lot of money that somebody lost. Like a pack of smokes. I don't really even know what they cost anymore. I'm assuming they're over $20, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think a pack of cigarettes is over $20. But my point is, I was thinking of this the other day. If I was gonna smoke, and I don't smoke cigarettes, I've never smoked, but if I was gonna smoke, I would go with the filterless. I'm a Lucky Strikes kind of guy. I mean, I want it all. Just give it all to me. I want it all.
Yeah, like if you're gonna smoke, you're just gonna kill yourself while doing it. You might as well make it quick.
Yeah, like a pack of Lucky Strikes is filterless, that would be my cigarette of choice. I don't know why, but anyway, we could go back to that some other time. However, let's go back to the dating app. So, all right, so swipe left, swipe right. Now, let's say I'm on my dating app, which I'm not.
Sure,
I'm
sure you're not.
You see a guy, his name is Schmed. Schmed. So I'm on my dating app. I like the woman, right? Mm-hmm. So I swipe right. What happens?
Usually from the guy's perspective, nothing happens. In rare instances, something does happen. Okay, so let's say we're in that very rare instance.
Sure. Okay. I'm game.
It's very different from a girl's perspective.
Now, why would you say that?
Girls swipe right, they get a match.
Yeah, girls, if they swipe right, they get matched.
That was Michael in the background, by the way, joining us remotely from the kitchen sink.
So on the other side, the girl is also swiping on profiles.
Sure.
And so if she comes across your profile and also swipes right on you, then it's a match, and then you unlock the ability to send a message to each other.
Okay.
Which is usually the guy's thing to do, because like the girls don't like to. I don't know. They want like a creative pickup line.
The guy should start. But I guess what I'm saying is, so I swipe right. I find a woman attractive. I swipe right. She gets notified that someone swiped on her. No,
she doesn't get notified unless you pay for the subscription. So like it's like Tinder Gold will let you know when you get somebody swiped right on you, and it shows you who it is. So
that's
you can decide.
That's kind of foolish.
Girls just like, if they swipe on somebody, it's a match. Cause like,
yeah, but my point being is, if I swipe on someone and I'm using the free app, they may never know I swiped on them, right?
Right.
Unless they swipe on
Right, unless they swipe on me. But I mean, there's got to be millions of pictures and profiles in there, correct?
It's only within a certain range of you. So like,
okay.
So I could set it from anywhere from 1 mile to 100 miles with the free version. But if you get the upgraded version, like the subscription, you can go anywhere in the world and swipe. Like you can.
I get it.
You can go to England, and you can go to.
So if you're a traveling kind of guy, you could say, "I'm in San Francisco today. Let me see who's around."
I think people use it when they're about to move to a new place, and then they like change their location to that place to try to meet people before they even move there.
Okay. All right. So now let's just say I have the paid version. I how much am I paying for? Is it like
they
a
have
modest?
Kind of different tiers, but I think the lowest is like $14.99 a month.
Oh, kind of like an OnlyFans.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that.
From what I hear.
Yeah, you get better rates if you pay for more time.
Okay.
So a year is $82.99.
That's for the year.
Yeah, 6 months is $52.99. See, like it's
and a month is $15.
$15.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So if I swipe and we both have paid, I swipe. She gets a notification. She looks at me, and if she likes me, she swipes right.
Right.
And then we both get a message. Well,
it's like a notification.
Yeah, that you're a match.
It says you got a match, a new match.
I got a match. Yeah. So now you're a match, and then what happens? Now I have a chance to talk to her. Is there a limit to that? Like, is there a limit to the time?
In some apps, there are some dating apps.
Okay.
24 hours.
Well, yeah.
24 hours to send a message.
There are like there are unwritten rules
like
in the dating
you don't
apps.
Message someone within, like, if you're a guy and you don't message someone with, like, you have.
Get closer to the mic.
So.
On this side.
Yeah, come here.
From my experience, when you match with somebody, when you send them like usually it's 24 hours and a match will expire. But if you send them a message, you have to get off the app as fast as possible. So within like a day or two, or you're basically never gonna talk to this person or meet them. That's kind of like an unspoken rule. Is like, I know this because Kyle tells me, and Kyle gets a lot of matches. so the goal is to get off of the dating app as fast as possible. And so,
what do you mean get off?
Yeah. What do you mean,
I'll give you an example.
Delete it or
no. So I'll give you an example. So I just matched with this girl on Hinge, which is like a discount.
That's the one you get rid of the app because they find you your true love.
So
I saw that commercial, right? Yeah. I've seen the ad for that.
So Hinge, I matched with this girl, and so I was like, okay, whatever. And this one is weird because like you like pictures of people like specifically or whatever individually.
Yeah,
so,
I'll tell you about it.
We were messaging each other and for like a day. And then like I spit some hot fire, so I was like, and she was kind of into it, so I was like, all right, so like I'm gonna ask for it.
Wait a minute. Did you just say you spit some hot fire?
Yeah. So we were both like talking, right? And it had only been like a day, and I was like, okay, as soon as I can get her Snapchat or her number, the better it's gonna be.
Oh,
so,
get out.
Oh,
of
get
that.
yes.
So find another way
I
to
understand.
message her. So I got her Snapchat,
Right.
and so now we've been like snapping for the last 2 days. So now like it establishes it's more like personal now too.
And
Right.
then you go to either the gram or the phone number from there.
Yeah, which is probably
It's
not
like-
gonna go
it's
either
like
way.
tiered
But
It's
up
tiered
there.
up.
So-
And pretty soon Facebook
Yeah.
and Facebook, you're definitely
Facebook is an old person
okay.
app.
Oh, that's an old person app.
You
Oh.
you go
All right.
either from the dating app to Snap or Instagram, and then from there to the phone number.
Okay.
So like girls on the apps when it comes to messaging are like goldfish. You know, like they don't have a long attention span, like 7
Oh, my
seconds of
Lord.
memory. You have to go
And
quick.
it's because they only go on there when they're bored or drunk.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I'm assuming guys do the same thing, but okay.
Well, guys are there's a couple things going on with guys.
Yeah. Well. All right. All right. So all right. So that's interesting. Yeah, I can understand that because let's be realistic. You can swipe, we could match, and just talk through that app, and nothing ever comes of it.
right.
So
like happens all the time.
What? Right. I'm sure of that. I'm sure that you kind of match, and then you think about it, or you look at the person a little longer, and you're like, I don't know what I was thinking, and then it's no good, right? So I see that, like, yeah, like for example, like when we used to go out and you met someone, you would say, and we didn't have cell phones then,
Right.
So we were like, can I call you? How can I call you?
What era is this when you would have been dating?
Yeah. So let me see. Lincoln was president. No. This is like I'm growing up. Like we're talking within the 80s,
The 80s.
late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s.
So you're like throwing Van Halen on the jukebox.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the thing is, like you would say, like you'd go out, Uncle Dave and I, who was on last week, we would go out to maybe a club, an under 18 club. We'd dance. You find a girl you dance with, and you would say, can I call you? You have a number. And a lot of times you would get you'd call and it'd be like a gas station or something. Like girls would give you like a crappy
wrong
number. Yeah. Or it'd be like their cousin's house or some crazy thing. So you knew that wasn't going anywhere. However, sometimes you got a number, and that was kind of cool, and you could talk back and forth because that was the only way. In that time, there was no social media, to correspond back and forth. It was pretty much a phone call. But yeah, I can see that. All right, so you definitely want to get the number.
So and here's what that social media has brought about. Now, you have the ability to just never respond ever again. If you don't want to talk to a person, you don't have to run through like an awkward, like, I don't know if this is working out. You can just block the person,
right,
and it'll just never happen again.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of tough because when you're face to face, like when we would go out and you're face to face, you would talk, and you would get a sense of a person right there. Like, you know what I mean? Like where, I think social media, I show you what I want you to see.
Right. So
you don't really get the full story. And another thing I think with these dating apps, and I've only talked to people who've used them. I could put a picture of myself from 10 years ago, and I didn't have this beard, and I had hair, and then someone meets you, you finally decide to meet up, and they're like, whoa, holy.
Well, yeah, I remember that was kind of a meme where the person would be either larger or something. Than in the photos because it was from some time ago.
Yeah.
But even on the dating app, it doesn't change. You show the best pictures of yourself. You show the picture from when you had abs or
right. I mean, listen,
which I never had.
You're selling yourself. It's like anything else. I'm selling myself to another person right now. Not really, but you're selling your image, and you want someone to see you in the best way, and then Yeah, but I find it, I guess it's a little difficult to kind of have a connection, because talking over a text or whatever, Snapchat, whatever he's saying, it's still kind of tough. Like, it's tough to gauge somebody just through a text, where sitting across from one another, you can see facial expressions, the way somebody says something, and you can kind of take cues off of that. Like, I can remember many times calling a girl and being like, yeah, this ain't gonna work out. We're just not nothing, no offense to anybody, we're just not a match. Like, it's just, I was attracted to you physically, and now I'm getting to know you, and I'm sure plenty of women felt that way about me too. Right. So,
Tinder sends like messages to its users that are kind of like PSAs. Like, over COVID, they implemented a video chatting feature so that within the app you could video chat somebody.
Okay, that's cool.
And which is useful, but I've never met anybody that uses it. So, but it's like, it's innovative. Like, that's keeping up with the times, I guess.
Sure.
And now I don't know where I was going with that at the beginning.
Well, I guess the apps, and I can see, especially in the last year or so, I can see how those apps have probably been on the rise, because you can't go out, you can't hang with just strangers. But I also think, during these times too, I guess it's very difficult to go out. Now you're talking with a stranger, and now you want to meet them, but you still have to be cautious, because of all the restrictions and everything, and you certainly don't want to bring, COVID home into your home or into their home. And so it's kind of a crazy time for dating as a whole, I think, and it makes it very difficult to get to know somebody through an app. But I guess it works.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories of people who got married through a dating app or like stuff like that.
I'm sure.
But even before COVID, there was like not restrictions, but like cautionary tales about it, where like meeting the person in person is like kind of a scary step, where like people have been killed or something, like something crazy like that.
Funny that you say that, because back in the day, Uncle Chris, when he was single and was able to mingle, used a website, and he would find dates, and every time he'd go, he'd call me and say, this is the person I'm meeting, here's their picture, I'm going here to meet them. If I don't show back up, make sure you tell the police. So he would send me a photo. He would tell me where he was going and what time. Every time. And then we had this thing. This is sad, however, but true. He would say, if I text you
a keyword or a key phrase,
please call me, which meant like he wanted out. Which I'm sure he didn't invent that. And I'm sure that everybody uses that, like, I'm going to text you something, because now he's doing this now that we have phones. Like, we didn't have, at that time, there weren't,
I don't want that to light on fire.
There weren't like smartphones. Like, smartphones weren't a thing. Like, we had flip phones and this and that. Pagers. So like, everything was done through the computer. So that's why he was going online. It was this website. It was like, I don't know, like personal Yahoo had one.
Farmersonly.com.
It was like, I don't know, like Yahoo had one of those, like, Find Love or whatever. And he would go on there, find them, talk, and then give them his cell. And then they would talk on the cell, and then they would meet. But he would always say to me, I'll text you, and you call me back, and I'll say I have to go.
I think that's still a thing. Tinder also has this thing called Noonlight, I think, where you send your permission to a contact to access your location, so that like if something happens, like you're kidnapped or something, there's somebody that that has your location. And even the iPhones have like the share my location with this person, and all sorts of stuff like that. But
Yeah, I wonder, and this is where we need our fact checker, but I wonder how many cases or issues they've had. I mean, I'm assuming there have been some, but I would imagine they've kind of taken some precautions, because if it was really super dangerous to do, then people would really steer away from it, or I would think they would.
Yeah, I think most I'm not claiming to be any expert or anything on this. Let me get that disclosed first, before people are like, hey, this guy's a weeb, he's a noob at this stuff. I think a lot of people use it for, as Kareem would say, banging.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's why when guys are on there, they go right,
Yeah,
right. And then so with the free version of Tinder, you only get a certain amount of swipe rights, probably for that reason.
For like what? For like a day?
Per day, yeah.
Okay.
If you get the upgraded, you get unlimited swipes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my ex-brother-in-law used to tell me that he grew up probably in the early 60s and 70s. He would tell me he had a friend that when they would go out, he was like, every girl that he would come in contact with, like he said, we'd go into a club, every single girl, he would ask them if they would sleep with him. And he said he got slapped a lot, but he also got laid a lot, because he said if you ask 100 girls, he said eventually someone's going to say yes. But that's the whole idea for a guy. If I swipe right on 100 girls, someone's bound to say yes, right?
I think also it's easier to go to the online dating and try that out because of that rejection factor in person. Like if you saw somebody and you were like, oh, I should see if she wants to go get coffee or something, and then you're like, well, what if she says no? And then by the time you figure that out in your head, she's like walked all the way down the other end of the mall. I think the cell phones have kind of brought about a social anxiety of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I were sending myself a message to a younger me, I would say, or to anybody else that's younger and listening, all 11 of you, it doesn't, it's no hurt to the ego to ask, you know. And I think that if done in a nice and polite way, it's always, I think, for a girl or a guy even, flattering to be asked. But I think that being rejected is the fear. But if you get past that fear, it's just another, you know, okay, well, that didn't work, I'll move on, I'll move on to the next. And it's a hard thing to, I think, to overcome, because no one wants to be rejected, whether it's from another woman, another man, a job, whatever. A college, yeah, sure. But it is it is something that I would tell a younger me. Don't worry about it. You're gonna ask, and you're gonna fail more than you succeed sometimes, but that's okay. Like, it's just it doesn't hurt to ask. You can't lose by asking. You can only lose by not asking.
I actually have a story about this that I don't think I ever told you.
Oh God.
I was able to sum up that courage once in my life.
Okay.
To walk up to a girl and ask her for her phone number, and she said no. And I was like, okay. Cuz and I was just so, like, amazed by the fact that I was able to actually do it, that I was like, oh, all right. That's that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just no. Like, it is what it is. Like, no, again, nobody wants to be told no, or nobody wants to be rejected, but it's just a no. And the more you look at it like that and not fear it, the easier it becomes. And like I said, like my ex brother-in-law would tell me, that guy asked everybody. And I mean, you don't go to that extreme,
right.
Obviously, but yeah, I think it's just weird for me because growing up when I did, there were, like I said, there were no cell phones. I think I had I got a beeper like when I was, I don't know, 30, and that was from work. And I got my first cell phone somewhere in my 30s. And that was just a plain old, cell phone like that. There was no connecting to the internet. There was no, data. Texting wasn't even thought of. And if it was like extra charge. Like you would get charged out the yin yang to text. And, and eventually you got the smartphones and this and that. But, yeah. And of course, going back to when I was single and mingling, you could go out on a weekend and go down the shore and go to a club, and there were thousands of guys and thousands of girls, and it was just you were out to meet people. That's what you did, and I think it must be harder today. I mean, I guess it's no different, but especially now, due to the circumstances of what's going on, with COVID, it's got to be difficult to form some sort of relationship, and that kind of stinks. I mean, it kind of stinks on a lot of levels because you're not you can go to work like you do, and I do, and you meet people there, but you're not hanging with those people a lot because everybody's got the same issue. You got to go home, and you got to you're worried about getting that text from work that there's been someone tested positive, mm-hmm. and you were around them, and now you have to are they getting a test? Should I go get a test? And that's a pain. It's a pain today. But dating, it's a different beast today.
I think a lot of people took to the apps over quarantine, and that's where a lot of traffic came from, because all of a sudden you can't just go out to a Starbucks and you can't go to the mall.
Yeah.
Like during the thick of it, everything was closed. Like what's the date idea then? You could go to a park and have a picnic.
So we'll sit on opposite sides of the bench.
You can
and wave to each other. Well, there was that. I remember. Where did I see that? I think it was on social media somewhere. It was a guy who was in his apartment. I believe it was New York. Guy was in his apartment, and every day he would see this girl on the roof across the street from him, and he thought she was cute. So he had a
drone.
A drone.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he sent her a message on the drone, and then I guess they started talking, and then they had a virtual dinner. Did they not? Like they had this virtual dinner.
She sent her phone number back with the drone.
Yeah, I mean that first of all, dude, that's creative. Like if she didn't give you her number just on the creativity of that, you should have forgot her. But she thought that was cool. Now that's neat. And I'm sure there's plenty of stories that way of people getting creative, trying to meet somebody. But it's just got to be awful hard, app or no app,
mm-hmm.
And like you said, I think with the app, if you're swiping and let's say we're paid again, and I could see if I get 6 or 7 hits in a row, now am I paying attention to one? Oh, mm-hmm. That was not working. I go back to the others. You know what I mean? Like that, there's some sort of disconnect in that. Like
I think I think in terms of the dating app, you play the field, and you you message everyone at the same time, and
sure.
then some will trail off and just not message you back at some point, and some will keep going and sticking, and then you just keep going.
Yeah. And I would think and here's another twist to that. I would think that if you found somebody and you started dating, that I think you got to get rid of the app. Because there's always that temptation of going, well, right. Oh wait, I got another hit. Hold on a second. Not to be rude, but like you're saying, there's always an option. Like you could start dating someone. I think they're okay. Oh, I got another hit. Let me see this one. And now you're holding a conversation with that one, but you've already met this one, and so it's always like, a give and take. I don't know. Maybe this one's better, or maybe I like this one better, or whatever. I think maybe the app, like once you start talking to someone, they should say, all right, you guys got to disconnect. We're closing you off for 15 days or something.
That's kind of like the marketing strategy of Hinge right now, where like it's like the app designed to be deleted, where usually that is the case.
Yeah.
But according to a podcast that I shall not name, it's in the unwritten rules that you are allowed to set up multiple dates with multiple people, like,
sure,
and in-person dates, and go play the field that way, I guess. Because seeing, again, like you were saying, meeting the person in person is more of a good judge of that person than messaging them.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I mean, I don't know. I guess when I was younger, you would say to a girl, will you go out with me, or are we going steady? Like that was, are we going steady?
Be my main squeeze.
Yeah. You be my baby mama.
As grandma.
But I mean, you commit to them. Now, to me, like, even when I was dating, when I said to someone, I'm committing to you, I always felt that was my word. So I stood by that. However, if you're meeting someone for coffee and it's just kind of building, and you have another date with somebody, I mean, I don't know if, you probably should say, I have a few dates lined up, but I think that's kind of a turn off. It's like, it's like a job interview. Well, I've got a few.
Well, yeah,
I'll get back to you.
Like an interview. I'll get back to you. I got a better offer.
Wait. How much are you willing to give me? Yeah. How much vacation time?
I think that's part of the expectation going into a dating app. I think, like, you may not know it, but like people who are in the demographics of using a dating app expect that the people they're talking to are also talking to other people.
Sure.
So that everybody is talking to multiple people at once.
Sure. And until the two of you decide, you know what, I don't want to deal with that noise. Let's just you and I.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I guess. Again, I've never used a dating app, and I couldn't even imagine like going. And I would call it like it's old school. Like I'd love to, like I would like to meet somebody out. Now, of course, again, we'll go back to the COVID thing. It's difficult to get out. However, that's the old school way. Like, you went out, you met someone. Oh, you saw someone at the bar. You try to strike up a conversation, and you move on from there.
Trust me, people have come into my feed that are 40s, 50s, 60s. And unless they're posting a picture of them in a Lamborghini or something, I'm not swiping right.
Now, can you set an age? Oh, you can. Okay. So there's some filters.
It varies from the app. It lets you set, like on Hinge, you can set certain filters, and then if you pay for the subscription, you can set more filters. Yeah. But on Hinge, it's really detailed. Like, it lets you set restrictions on religion, on age, on if you smoke or not,
sexuality,
all
straight,
sorts of stuff.
Whatever.
Your political preference.
Oh,
it's crazy.
Yeah. That's a little too much information for me.
So yeah, on Hinge is basically, it doesn't have a swiping interface. It's, you set up your profile. It's kind of like a page that you scroll on, and it has pictures, and then there's like a prompt, and it'll say, what's your ideal date, or if I could be a part of a TV show, I would be this. And then like you come up with your creative answers, and then if you want to send a like to somebody, you like a certain aspect of their profile and then comment on that. Okay. So if you like the location of a picture, like if they're on a beach or something, you're like, oh, that's whatever, that's such a cool spot, or stuff like that. I see the mural in Somerville all the time on dating apps.
Romy's the Kuzo mural is a hot spot for dating.
It is.
It's pretty cool. It's a cool. That's for my good friend, our good friend Jerome Gonzalez. Rest in peace, brother. Miss you. There's a nice mural in Somerville, New Jersey, dedicated to him. And a lot of people I take pictures by it all the time. You know, it means something to me. But I'm sure a lot of people do, because it's nice.
A good backdrop for the dating app photo. Even one of my pictures has the backdrop on there. And I'm like, hey, you know how that mural, you know what the meaning behind that mural is? And they're like, cool. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not talking to you anymore.
All right, bye-bye. Wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
So that's the interface behind Hinge. And then there's Bumble, which does have a swiping interface.
Okay.
But when you match with somebody, the girl has to message first. So it takes that idea that the guy is always supposed to message first and then flips it around. So what happens when you match on Bumble is the girl gets 24 hours to send you a message, and then so they have to send a message within that 24 hours or the match just gets canceled out.
Disappears. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could see that because I guess they're kind of turning the tables there, because I'm assuming, being a guy, and if I was on that app, if I got any messages, I'd probably be just replying back. Maybe not, but you're just like, oh, I'm just going to reply to whoever replies, and then I could not answer or continue on, right? Because now you're just getting this herd of women. You got like a lineup, like 1 through 9. It's like a baseball lineup.
So here's what happens. On apps where the girl doesn't have to message first, like Tinder, they want something creative pitched at, like a good pickup line that's tailored just for them. Mm-hmm. Like use their name in a creative way or something.
Sure.
And if they don't want something like that, they'll put it in there. They're like, if you send this, if I get one more of this pickup line, I'm not messaging you, or whatever. But then what happens on Bumble when the girl is forced to message first? This is the message you get every time. Hey.
Creative.
And so,
hey, you.
It's basically a way around the guy messaging first. So it's like a way to open up the messaging, but then for the guy to respond in a clever way.
Right.
So it'd be like, hey, and then be like, oh, and then have some smooth line or something.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, I mean, being in person, has its advantages, also has its disadvantages. I think when you're young, maybe even when you're older, I guess, obviously physically being attracted, I think the first step is always physical. I think that, you look at somebody and you're like, wow, they're handsome, or they're gorgeous or whatever. But getting to know a person sometimes accentuates that or ruins it. There could be plenty of people that you find physically attractive, and then you hold a conversation and you're like, this is not good.
It could even be the opposite, because there's a lot of stereotypical things to put in your dating profile, like holding a bass. Holding a fish in your photo is like an instant swipe left for a lot of girls. or like being by a car or something, like
Sure.
being a car dude. But then like you never give that person the chance to, like, they could be your soulmate, and
Right.
and you would never even have given them the chance.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I know that, and this has been around for years, longer before these, that was that Match.com, I guess. And they kind of use like an algorithm.
Right.
That's what they say.
Yeah, so they say.
And it's supposed to, and that's, and I wonder if that's a better way to, because I guess, and I don't know if this is always necessarily true, but I guess it's going to kind of take your likes and their likes and kind of mesh them and go, oh, you like hiking, she likes hiking, you like outdoors, she like outdoors, she fishes, you fish, or whatever, and it kind of matches you up so you have some common ground. And I guess, of course, I mean, if you find a common ground with someone that you're attracted to, it'll even better, right? Mm-hmm. But like if you're an outdoor guy and your girl likes to sit home, like that, sometimes that doesn't mesh. Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it can work, but
usually that's the kind of stuff that you find out through the chatting.
Right.
Like if that's part of the ice breaking chat that you have at the beginning, where it's like, oh, what do you like to do? And it'd be like, watch Netflix. And then the other person's like, oh, well, I'm outside every day hiking the Appalachian Trail or whatever.
Right.
Then it kind of will drop off from there. But some apps, since I'm on dating apps, I get targeted with dating app ads, like advertisements on social media, like on Instagram and stuff. Even Facebook has their own dating tab.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I used a little bit, but it's not anything special, I guess.
Right.
There's even a dating app that I saw an ad for where it doesn't show you the person's picture until you start talking a bunch to them. So as you talk, the picture gets less and less blurry. So
that's kind of cool.
It gives you like their personality first, and you talk and talk, and then it shows you what they look like.
Yeah, that isn't there like a TV show where they date in like complete darkness? I think there was a TV show like that. It was like some sort of like you date, but it's in complete total darkness. Like it's in a dark room. And they have conversations, and then in the end, they decide, I think, whether... I've never really watched the show. I'm just assuming that they decide whether or not they want to. But that's an interesting... Like, I think about that. Like, would I want to get to know somebody before seeing them? Or would I want to see them and then get to know them?
Well, the general human answer is to be like, yes, personality takes over.
Right.
But...
Yeah, not really. No. I mean, yeah. I think though. I think that you can probably. I don't want to say fall in love, but fall in like with somebody without seeing them ever.
The new version of this show that you're talking about is where they talk. They're set up with somebody. And then they talk, and then they decide if they want to marry that person at the end of it.
Oh my!
Without seeing them.
Well, that's nuts.
And then the first time they see them would be on their wedding if they decide to accept the proposal.
See, I have like Mom, my wife Kim, likes to watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, and I think that. Like, I find that kind of odd. Like, I don't know how many weeks that show is. Let's just say it's six months. Like, so that's what, like 24 weeks. Like, I am not saying that you can't fall in love and marry someone in 24 weeks and have, your life ahead of you and stay together forever. However, I kind of think there's not that many people that that fall in love like that and it works out because let's face it, like sometimes it works, like for example, you like someone and then you're of age now and you say, man, I really like this girl, I want to move in with her, and then you move in and then that's where the rubber meets the road, because now you're living together, you're not married, but now you're living together. Now things start to get Like when you start to get comfortable, because every relationship starts off wonderful. It's like you're in love and everything's great until you start to get comfortable. And that's when you find out whether or not this relationship's going forward or not. Because once you get comfortable, then the true side comes out. Now you start to see those sides and you go, yeah, I didn't see this before. Like, where'd this come from? And I mean, hey, regardless of whether you use apps or you've never used an app, whether you met a woman back in 1950 or you met a woman today, the process is still the same. That getting to know that person is the key to knowing whether or not you're like, yeah, we live together. She's really messy. I'm really neat. But you know what? I still love her anyway. Or vice versa, like he's really messy, she's really neat, but we still love each other.
I'm gonna get a divorce.
Yeah, or I'm out of here. She loves cats, I love dogs. But concessions are made at some point, and that's when you realize, hey, this is something special, right? But I guess finding someone hasn't changed much in a million years, but it's different. It's different today. The dating app it really puts you out there to a lot more people. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Yeah, like people who you'd meet on there are people who you would never have met through your daily life. I mean, potentially.
Potentially, yeah, sure. Yeah, because, let's face it. Like I said, when we would go out, you'd go out. And whoever was at that club or was at that bar or was at that party, that was it. Where with an app, there's millions of possibilities, probably. I would say, like if you said within a 20-mile radius of where we live now, there's probably millions, like a million people, doing the same thing you're doing. But it opens up to a broader audience now that you have a chance, like you said, to meet somebody that most likely you wouldn't have never met, but maybe you would have.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I know somebody who matched with somebody and they wound up working together.
Yeah, me too.
And it's like what are the chances, right? But that can happen, right? Like maybe that person would have met that person on the job, but maybe not. That circle could be very small,
or definitely not,
or definitely not. But that circle could be really small or quite broad, where and like go back even further, like when I was in college or you were in college, I went to school out of state, so I was meeting people from Pennsylvania, from New York, from New Jersey, and you probably met people from out of state as well.
Yeah.
And so that broadens that range, but still, it's still a smaller circle because it's the people on your campus, like that you were going to see every day. Dating is a I've been married for a long time, and I'm out of the dating game for a long time, and if I had to be back in, God forbid. I don't know how I would react to using an app. It's just not the way I've done it. And I guess it's easier in a lot of ways. But I'm definitely a guy. Yes, I want to be attracted to somebody. But I think that definitely the conversation part is the part that I always liked out of the chase.
I haven't, because I haven't matched with any of the people who are over a certain age range. I would be interested to see kind of what their reason for being on there would be. Like if they just never got married and they were just now deciding to try to find somebody, or if they had gotten out of a bad marriage and got on there. So like I'm kind of curious to know how many people are on the dating apps for that kind of those kinds of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, and again, I'm sure there's statistics somewhere on this, or maybe not, but I would think listen, I'm in my 50s. And it's a little different. I think when you're older, I think maybe, and I'm not saying I'm old, I'm not decrepit, but I'm in my 50s. And when you're married for a certain period of time and you've grown accustomed to things one way, and to change that is difficult. I think that you become set in your ways, as we like to say, and to move on from that, whether it be a divorce or you're widowed, whatever, maybe it's just looking for some companionship. Hey, I'm not going to say somebody might be looking for sex. Okay, probably. But the point is, like, you might be just looking for somebody, like, just to reach out to. And maybe it starts out and it becomes, we're not going to date, but man, I like talking to you, like maybe we have a good friendship. And I'm sure that happens. I'm sure that people go on that app and you kind of like someone, but you're like, not enough. You get in the friend zone, right? And you're like, I like you, but I don't like you that way, but we can hang out. It's cool. And I'm sure that people meet that way and they form some sort of relationship other than boyfriend and girlfriend.
Well, now you make me feel bad for swiping left on these old women.
No. I mean, listen, I'm sure they're on there, again, for reasons, whatever their reason may be. Again, I don't know what I would do if I had to date again. I think I would find it very difficult. Again, I'm married close to 25 years. Close to 25 years. And that's a long time, and to start another relationship would be so difficult. I think it would be really hard. It's just, you're just set in your ways and yeah. But I mean, I'm sure people have their reasons, people have their reasons to be on there.
When you were in your dating days, was there ever anything that was a deal breaker for you? Smoking?
A mustache? No. No, I'm just kidding. I dated a smoker once. I did date
and then it became a deal breaker for you.
I wasn't really thrilled with that.
Also, smoking was more common then, so that's not as much of a problem these days.
Yeah, I mean, I hope. Well, I mean, I think smoking, like I remember when I was, I remember when cigarettes were like, at the height, like $2.10 a pack. I think they're a lot more today. I wouldn't know because I haven't bought or sold a pack of cigarettes. I did work in convenience stores, and I haven't bought or sold a pack of cigarettes in ages. However, I'm sure they're close to 20, maybe more per pack. So that's a big investment if you're a pack a day smoker, but I was always fairly open to anyone that showed interest in me. I would take a peek, kick the tires, see what's under the hood. But I mean, like I always wanted to see, if I was first. I mean, obviously, if I was attracted to someone, that was a plus. But I was always, kind of open to seeing what was there. Like, would this work? Would this not work?
So here's something that's interesting about that. I'm not sure if I should say this or not, but I'm gonna say it anyways. When that's kind of why in the apps where you can see the people who sent you likes, it from the guy's perspective, it's this is kind of playing into my mind. I can't speak for anybody else, but if somebody sent me a like, since we get so few, or maybe it's just me, who knows, I could be mad ugly or something, since Kyle seems to be so good at it. Since I get so few, when I do get one and I haven't swiped right on them yet, I'm more likely to swipe right on them because they've already expressed interest in me.
Yeah, and
that's all I'll say.
No, I understand that. I mean, but I think that's where I think, again, I firmly believe that you can, the first instinct for a guy, and I think it's very different for women, and I do believe this, for a guy is physical attraction. I think women look at things differently. I believe that. I think there's been studies on that, and I can't spit the facts out now, but guys are a little with the self-image thing. It means something, like, it's like if you think about it, like there are guys who are young and they bald at a young age, and while some people may find that a disadvantage for a younger guy who's bald, I think the majority of women, and again, I'm not basing this on any facts that I know. I think women look at men differently than men look at women. I think that if you had a list of 10 things and they were the same for men and the same for women, and you told men to rank them 1 through 10, that men would put looks higher than women. And it's not that a woman wants an ugly dude, but there's things that women will look at differently in another human being than a man will. And I believe that. I believe that to be true. I mean, we can look that up, I'm sure, but so it's different. It's different for a man looking for a woman than a woman looking for a man.
We need a member of the female species to come here and confirm this.
Yeah. No, but I think
I
that
get what you're saying.
Like women as a whole are more maternal, obviously. I mean, they're the ones that carry children. They're just built that way, like women are more maternal than men, but for a reason. And I think their view of the perfect spouse differs. Not that, like I said, again, I think you need to be attracted to someone, but I think I've seen a lot of women who and not that I'm super hilarious, but I can make people laugh, and I'm goofy, and I had a good time. And I knew women that just liked me because I made them laugh. And that was a turn on for a woman, that they were like, wow, this guy, I like that. Where a guy could, you don't make me laugh, I don't really care. That may be true, may not be true. I'm not trying to speak for all guys. I'm saying that if you had the same list and gave it to men and women, that list, the guys would have physical attributes higher than women, because women look at a guy differently than a man looks at a woman. And I mean, again, we could look that up, but I think that's true. And so, getting back to what you're saying, you're swiping right, and maybe you're swiping right just because, like you said, just because they've shown an interest in you. But I mean, if you open the page and you look at them and you're not attracted at all, it's probably not going to go that far, right? Right. Probably not, because your heart's not in it, and so it's just different. I think that as you grow older and you kind of realize, like the old saying, beauty's skin deep. We all get old. Our looks will change and fade, but the person inside stays the same, or you're that person, your spirit's there, and you're a good person, and that's what bonds people eventually. Like people will say, like I remember asking when I was younger, how did you know that you wanted to marry? And people always say, oh, you just know, which is like the craziest answer, because like that's not the answer you're looking for until you're there, and then you're like, oh yeah, I get it. I know that this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And sometimes it really doesn't work out. I mean, but
speaking from personal experience.
no, it's just, I asked one woman to marry me, and that was it, But I wasn't one of those guys that asked every woman to marry me. I thought I was going to marry some other women at the time, and things didn't work out. But that's a lesson learned, like from every relationship, you take a little bit, and now you get further and further down the line, and now you're like, I know what I don't like, and I know what I do like. And it just builds from there. But yeah.
Like when Ian Malcolm said, or he said, "Are you married?" And he said, "Occasionally." And then he said, "Oh, I'm always on the lookout for the next ex Mrs. Malcolm."
Yeah, that's right.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you got it that way, I guess, But it's one and done for me. That's it. That's the way it should be. Or hopefully. Hey, things happen.
Until death do us part.
Right. That's supposed to be the rule. I guess. It's all good. Yeah, my heart goes out to all of the younger generation.
The youngins.
And I guess for you guys, it's the norm. Like for guys and girls your age, the dating app is kind of a norm, and it kind of gets your feet wet, and gets you out there, and like you said, you can pick and choose who you see and who you don't. And there's probably a lot of options, and different from, like I said, for me. But I guess every generation has its own. Like there was a point in time when people were basically set up with somebody. Oh, that's gonna be your husband, or that's gonna be your wife, or however they did it. Way back in ye old days at the Castle of England, and they would set up your wife or whatever, and that was that. Which had to suck, because what if they just said, "Oh, you're marrying this one," and you were like, "Whoa." Oh man.
You're like, "Oh bother, I hope she has a good personality."
Can she fight? That's terrible.
Yeah, so anyways.
Yeah, anyways.
Something else that was brought up by the pandemic. It's quite the quite the phenomenon. It's gotten in the way of dating as well. Okay. I think mask face.
Yeah.
This isn't something that just happens to people who you're physically attracted to, like coworkers. Like I'll be at work with people, and I know them with a mask on, and then we go into the break room when you're allowed to take your mask off, and I'm like, "What in the world? Is that your mouth? Is that your chin?" I'm like, wow. They look like a completely different person.
Yeah. Now, does anybody? This would be kind of funny. In the dating apps, do they like put a mask on and in their picture? Or I would hope not.
I've seen some people that have. That's how you know they have updated profiles. If they have a picture with a mask on or something. Yeah, I've seen it occasionally.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of funny that you say that, because I'm certain that it's awfully hard. Like if you're at work now you're working and you see someone with a mask. Really, you're only seeing eyeballs.
Your mind is making up the ideal rest of their face.
Yeah, and like you, for example, like you have a very, very short, trimmed beard and mustache, but wearing a mask, no one would really see that. I mean, you could see the longer sideburns probably, and but you could assume. I mean, we could just assume you have long sideburns, right? Like bringing like Elvis sideburns back, like mutton chops. Remember SpongeBob and Patrick? They had sideburns with the little leaves. But it is like you don't get the full picture.
It's happened to me before, like where it's like you look at somebody and you're like, okay, and then they're like, and you're like,
were you born without teeth? No, but I mean. It happens the same thing with glasses, like with sunglasses. Like someone's wearing sunglasses, and you're like, all right, and then they take them off, and you're like their eyes are like, you're like, what the hell happened? Like
that's actually something I never thought about, but I have experienced. Like at the summer camp there were people that would wear sunglasses all the time, and then when they took them off, their eyes just look puny, and I'm like, what the heck?
You know what's really speaking of differences in looks. Now I can tell you this, that my wife Kim, when I met her, she until this day does not wear a lot of makeup. So what I saw was what I got. Now I know I've dated, and I have dated girls who wore a lot of makeup. And the first time you see them without makeup, sometimes it's a little shocking. Because it's very different. Like, I mean, like, you know, and I don't mean in a bad way. Well, sometimes. But it's just different when you see someone all dolled up and then they don't have their makeup on. Then you see that the real, you know, like, I guess it's like anything else. Like makeup and clothes can hide flaws that you have or, you know, don't have or whatever. And it's just a shocking experience to see.
I've seen it happen a lot of times while I was at school. Like people who would wear makeup every single day, and then all of a sudden they didn't, and I would like do a double take and be like, what?
Like, what happened to you?
And the common phrase is, you look tired.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I mean, and I don't say that in a bad way, but there are women who wear lots of makeup. And I guess, you know, for whatever the reason, you know, there's base and there's eye crap and whatever.
And then there's even the inverse. Well, it's like the same reaction for the inverse, where they never wear makeup and then they do.
And then they do.
And then you do the same double take. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that is a different person.
Absolutely. That's one thing I think for a guy, like you know, normally we don't wear makeup. And girls get to see you. Like that's what you look like, you know, like the changing of your face. Maybe you grow a beard, you know, facial hair, or not, but like you don't wake up in the morning after they took their makeup on me. You're like, whoa, Bob, you look, whoa, holy, are you tired? You know, like, yeah, I mean, I guess the mask presents another problem when, you know, again, we're basing, you know, if we're being super shallow, like most guys, and we're basing it on looks, you don't get to see the full face. And so you're judging it on pretty much hair, eyebrows, if they have, and eyeballs. And yeah, a lot could happen from the eyes down.
When I was working at the mall, I worked across the way from the makeup section, so I overheard a lot of talk about makeup and whatnot. I generally don't know a lot about makeup, but I from a lot of the stuff that I could overhear, some people just are skipping it altogether because the mask covers half your face already.
Right.
So like the only thing that you would really have to worry about is like your eyes and your eyebrows, I guess.
And your hair.
I don't wear makeup, so
yeah.
I wouldn't know. But that's like the only stuff that you could see on a person's face nowadays.
Yeah, no, and I you know, it's funny that you say that because I have a beard, and it's you know, a full longer beard. It's not, you know, close to my face, and when not wearing a mask during those times, I would, you know, I try to use a product like a beard oil or beard butter, because it, you know, just makes it softer. But if I'm covered up with a mask a lot of times I don't, because if I'm going to work and I go in my office, I can take my mask off. But when I'm in common areas, they require a mask. So nobody sees it anyway. You know, my beard just kind of is. Some people have asked me, did you cut your beard? Because sometimes I don't wear a mask. I wear a, what do they call it? A gaiter. Right. So it covers my whole face, and they're like, did you shave your beard? And I'm like, no, it's under here. I'm just, you know, you just can't see it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because if you wear the mask, it pops out.
It pops out the bottom. Yeah, and I look like I'm building sheds in the Amish country. That's what basically I look like. But yeah, that's kind of an interesting. You know, you're kind of going into a relationship half blind, or you know. you meet somebody and you think, oh, she's attractive, until she takes her mask off. And I'm sure women say the same thing. You know, they're like, oh, what happened to your nose, or
That's why, like, even at Amazon, which is where I work, we show each other our badges because it has a picture of us without a mask on, and we're like, oh, this is what I look my like. Chin and mouth looks like. And
yeah, I mean, you could have no bottom jaw.
Yeah, you could just be a half a head.
I don't know how you eat lunch, but you could have like no jaw and just be in the work and like,
And it's harder. I don't know if it's harder. It's just different, like with the expressions. Like you can still kind of see that if a person is smiling or not based on like their eyes and like the upper cheek. But it's like weird. Like you can't have like mouth expressions like like you can't express with your mouth, I guess. And I've tried to like even like mouth things to people that are far away, and I'm like, oh wait a second, I can't do this.
Yeah, I mean, you could say F you to somebody and just mouth it and they never know. I mean, they're standing right in front of you.
Yeah,
I'm sure everybody's done that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, dating, hey, it is what it is. I mean, I guess when in Rome, you keep up with the times, and especially now. I mean, I guess it's working to some extent, but got to be difficult. I think it's got to be a difficult process to go through, especially like I said, when you're out and someone you decide you're going to talk to someone, they decide you're going to talk back. Now you're engaged, and they can't. I mean, at the end of the night, they could blow you off, but at that moment, there's you're engaging with one another, and so normally most people are pretty courteous and they just kind of hang and kind of talk, and then they say, I'm never going to call that guy. But, at least there's some courtesy because you're face to face, where social media gives you that, sense of security that you can just blow them off and doesn't matter. Right. Like, and I'm sure people are affected by that. I'm sure they're like, oh, damn, I thought this was going somewhere, but if you have like 6 fish on the hook, you get to kind of choose which one you really want to continue with.
The best one.
The best fish.
Yeah.
Oh, that dude's standing by his car. Done.
So I remember starting this sentence like an hour ago, and I don't remember finishing it.
Okay.
Tinder sends these notifications to its users, and it kind of telling them about the updates and telling them about the changes that they've implemented and everything like that. And so one of them was like a little article that someone wrote about how to end your conversing with somebody.
Like
so
a proper etiquette to ending it?
They kind of want you to be like, hey, this isn't working out, and like actually send those messages, where most people will just stop talking to you and then unmatch with you, and that would be it. Like I like how they're pushing for that, but I highly doubt that'll ever happen.
Well, I think it's a social media thing, and I think on social media you have a lot of people who say things that you probably wouldn't say or write or say if the person was standing in front of you. Back in the day when I was younger, if I had to say something to someone, it was either I had to have their phone number and call them and tell them, or I had to see them in person. So there was no real way of conveying anything to them. And social media has this factor of distance that, well, I could just say whatever I want, and I'm certainly not going to get punched or slapped in the face for saying it. But I would hope that proper etiquette, would say, hey, listen, thanks for the, conversation. but I don't feel this is going anywhere. I appreciate it. Good luck. And I think that would go a long way. Like, I think that, rejection sucks, of course, but I think that people would appreciate that then. Like, I mean, I could hear people saying, oh, I had this conversation with this guy or this girl, and now suddenly, like, it's gone. Like, like, what happened? And then, of course, you're trying to write them back, and they're just not even acknowledging that you even existed. And that would be nice, but it is easier. It's just easier to shut it off and go, that one's done. I'm done with it. And I don't think it's a thing where you're like, well, is it, I'm going to hurt their feelings. Either way, like, if you stop, you're going to hurt someone's feelings anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is. But I think being honest and just saying, hey, this isn't working. Like I've always said, I've been in relationships, I've been broken up with, and I've been the one breaking up, and it's never easy. And and because I think, honestly, like, you care for people, you care about their feelings, and you're going to hurt them. They're going to be hurt. And I remember breaking up with this one girl, and she was crushed, and I felt terrible about it. But I was honest. I'm like, listen, I'm not happy anymore with this. Like, we've kind of gone separate ways, and I feel bad about it. But I'm not apologizing for it. We had a good time, but it's time to move on. And I would respect that more from somebody than them just say, what do they call it? Catfishing or spoofing or
what? Ghosting.
Oh, ghosting. Yeah, that's it. Just like disappear. Like, that sucks. Like, at least there's some finality in it. Like, boom. I understand what you're saying. It hurts. Nobody likes to end something that you think was really good. But at least where you stand, and you can kind of move on from there. And I think that's fair. Does it happen? Probably not. And maybe some people do it. I mean, I think that would be a nice thing to do. I'm sure people write back, oh, well, F you then, or, because they're hurt. But okay, well, F me. Okay, well, see you later. Like, I'm doing a courtesy, and I think it's right to say, I don't think this is going anywhere. I appreciate it. Good luck. Take care. But yeah, I don't think they can force you to do that.
A minority of the time.
I'm sure.
A small amount of time.
Yeah, but I think part of that is because it's like this. I know people, like, I play fantasy football, and I'm in one league. And I know people who play multiple leagues. And then what tends to happen is this. So you're in a league, and your team is not doing well. But in your other league, you're doing well. So you pay attention to that league, and this one you don't really pay attention to a lot because you're not doing that well, and it's not a high priority. And I think with the dating app, because you get so many, or if you have a couple likes, or you're kind of moving your attention elsewhere. It's not concentrated on just one. It could be concentrated on 4 or 5. And then you're just like, well, I'm done with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Where if it was just that one and you were involved in it and you started talking, and then like I said, well, I'm out. I like to go and do hikes in the mountains. Well, I like to Netflix. All right, so you don't like to go out.
For that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, for that reason. And I'm still out. Yeah, for that reason, I'm back in. And for that reason, I'm out. No, but you have a lot of irons in the fire. And when you have that, you're saying, oh, this one's not going that well.
One may come out as a Damascus blade, and one may come out with a catastrophic failure.
But each blade will kill. So that's interesting. I don't envy today's dating scene, but I guess it works. I guess it gets you to the same place that I got by going out. But you certainly have a bigger crowd, a bigger draw, to see who you match up with, which maybe that's a good thing,
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. You can refine it. I think the refining it is what really makes it more effective. Like you can choose an age range, and you can choose a distance, like a circle around you. You can choose whatever other things that Hinge has on there.
Right. Well, I would think that you would want to refine that, because why would you want, like, you match with someone and they're like, hey, I live in Oklahoma. Oh, well, great. I'm in New Jersey, you know, like
a long distance.
Yeah. I remember a friend of mine telling me that it was like, oh yeah, when I was like 8, I asked this girl out, and she said yes, and then she moved away. He goes, I think we're still dating. It's like 25 years later. And he's like, I'm pretty sure you both moved on, but you might want to tell your wife that you're married to now, that you're still dating this girl that you asked out when you were 8 years old. But yeah, no, that's kind of funny. Well, yeah, dating.
Yeah, dating.
Yeah, it's the old, it's been going on for ages, right?
Yeah, apparently I've heard stories about it in the old text.
And back in the day when caveman would bop you on the head and take you back to his cave.
And when he wrote "swipe right" on the cave wall.
He drew a picture of her like a stick figure. Oh, I like this one. Oh.
She killed a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah. What a woman. Yeah. Oh, well. Well, I think we've gone on long enough about dating. It's been an interesting night. We were supposed to have a guest, and they weren't feeling well. So
I'm sure she can have some input on this topic as well.
Are you sure of that? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll revisit it. It would be interesting, I mean, we're two guys. It would be interesting to hear a girl's perspective.
Only half of us use dating apps.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, hey, it's 50%. But yeah, it would be interesting.
We need a female perspective.
Yeah. I think I have to look that up. I remember seeing a list, like I told you. I remember seeing a list, and they asked men and women to rank these 10 features or 10 items about a man and a woman, and they were the same, but they like things that you found attractive. And looks on a woman's list was way down, and it was shocking to me. Like I just figured everybody was the same. You want to be physically attracted, but there are certain things like I know, like just in conversation, I've had women say, "Oh, I like a guy, and I look at his arms or I look at his shoulders, and I'm like, that's like the weirdest thing, like it's like a body part, like, oh, he had nice legs. Why do you have nice legs? Like that's just weird to me. But women, I do believe women look at men differently than men look at women, and maybe we can ask a woman. I still think they want to be attractive.
So you're saying that dudes don't look at body parts?
No, they do. But I mean, that's the whole, I think, just my opinion, I think that guys are a little superficial, or more superficial than women. That's just and I could be totally wrong.
They have standards to societal norms to withhold.
I guess, I mean, I suppose, and I don't want to say like, would you rather date a good-looking woman who had a terrible personality or an ugly woman? You don't want to. What I'm saying is, I think that it goes beyond the looks, and that lasts for a little while. Like I always used to say to the guys, like if we went out and they would see a guy with a girl or whatever, and they're like, "Wow, she's hot," and I'm like, that dude right there may be tired of her shit right now. Like somebody's tired of her shit, just like a guy. Like women will see a great looking guy and you could say the same thing. Like, yeah, well, someone might be, I knew women who have told me they found a guy super attractive until he opened his mouth. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, like he's good looking, like he's a good looking guy. He's good to look at, but that just wasn't enough, and there's probably some merit in that, you know, like you need more than just something to look at, you know? And at the end of the day, you know, when your wife takes off her makeup and you're like, oh, you know, like, yeah, but we'll see. We'll get a woman's perspective on this. We'll have to like take this conversation up when we have a woman on the show, just to ask and see if she, well, first of all, we got to find out if she's on the dating app anyway. Maybe she won't even tell us. But if she was, we could easily just say, okay, withstanding the app, not even including the app, when you see a man, what is priority for you when you look at a man? You know, obviously, I think that women want a good-looking man too, but I think in the long run, if they had to list it, I don't think it's as high as on the list as a man's. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. But what do I know?
We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, like a present.
Yeah. Well, it was good this week. We're trying to get some more people to come on. I have a list of people that we're trying to get, so you just don't have to hear us babbling for an hour and a half. But that's what we're doing.
We can ask Bill Burr what his experience is next week or so, whenever he's free.
Whenever he's free, yeah. I'd love to have Bill Burr on. That'd be so funny. He's a funny dude.
Or Jason Statham.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, from Ozark.
Yeah, from Ozark.
It's not Jason Statham. But he'd probably be a cool guest. Yeah.
Or that other Jason.
Or that other Jason from Ozark. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up for another Rippin' Nuts podcast in the tank.
Thanks for tuning in to the Rippin' Nuts podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
Be sure to tune in next week for episode 4 with a special mystery guest who might be nobody at all again.
No, I'm going to get somebody this week. Definitely. Hey, you know, people get sick. It happens. We'll have her on.
Yeah, and we'll talk about The Graduate and
yeah.
hockey.
That's actually, I was preparing for that. I wanted to find out this whole story about The Graduate, the movie, The Graduate. Yeah.
Yeah. Not me, The Graduate.
Yeah, or not me. Long
Plastics.
time ago. I got one word for you. Plastics. All right, let's wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. And we will see you next week.
And remember to swipe right on everyone.
Yeah, and be polite. And say,
close out your conversations. Don't ghost anybody. Appreciate each other.
Yeah. Love each other.
All right. Until next time.